Tonight on the Doctor Who After Show, we get into some crazy international shipping conspiracies. What is Kerblam? What's behind it all? And we're gonna pop our way into this episode because I brought some bubble wrap, guys.
No! You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome back, Whovians. We didn't blow up. I just blasted us.
Did not blow up.
I blasted us 10 seconds into the future. The intro covered that travel though, so it's okay. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm your host Zach Wilson. The whole gang's here today.
Yay.
All the best friends, the Team TARDIS. Adrian Snow.
Hi guys, sorry, I'm still doing that weird thing in my head. I'm Adrian Snow. How are you?
Zia Anderson.
Hello, everybody.
And
I'm
Dave Child.
I'm Dave Child. Hi, everybody. I'm here.
Yay.
We are talking about Kerblam is the name of the episode. Get it? Because the whole building and company went kablam.
And they were called Kerblam.
Yeah, it was almost. I almost wonder if they knew what was going to happen when they named the company.
No, that's not how TV shows work.
Foreshadowing. What?
Never.
No.
Never happens.
It's a big spoiler, the whole name of the company and the name of the episode.
Yes, but hidden in plain sight, which was So first reactions episode, I really liked this one. This was fun. It continues this trend that every episode this season has like a political or like extra layer to it, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. It's just I noticed it this way. It's like, oh, we've done it every week so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Chibnall, don't give up. Beep. You know, he's like, I have a political message for you all.
Social commentary.
And this is how it's going to be. Amazon is a nightmare, but I have like 30 things in my Amazon cart that I'm going to buy tomorrow. So, you know, we all are susceptible to the evils of corporations.
Dave, you're like leaning on your hand like,
I really want to know what you're going to say.
I didn't quite like this episode, and I think it's because like this is an important thing to talk about because it's actually not that far from what's actually happening in Amazon warehouses right now. So because of that, I think they could have pulled off the social commentary a bit better. I feel like
In what way?
Well, it ended with like. It ended with the bad guy being someone who's trying to take down the corporation and not the actual corporation or what's happening to the people in the warehouse itself.
Well,
yeah, I see what you're saying, Dave, and we're gonna get into that conspiracy. We're gonna talk about Kyra and Charlie and like everything, whatever nonsense Charlie's getting into.
Yeah.
Talk about all the false bad guys, the fact that we are killing characters. And
that was a big thing for me too.
And of course, we gotta talk about Fez.
Yeah.
Fez
is back.
And stick around because we're gonna do another Who's Who on Who at the end of the episode. But Zia, what did you think of this episode?
I actually really liked this episode. It's probably up there in my top like 2 favorites, I would say. Along
of all
with
time?
No. Of the season.
No.
Sorry.
Okay.
That would take me so long to like write. I would have to compile a list. I'm not even gonna get into it. Of this season, I think that's probably one of my more favorite ones. It's just to me because a lot of it was building. There was mystery. There was intrigue. It's like they're trying to find someone. I liked that. There were robots. I liked that too. Just overall, I thought it was a really fun episode. And I actually like what they did with Charlie, which I know we'll get into later.
I do too. I thought it was more of there were 2 commentaries like going side by side right now. So I think one of them did fall to the wayside, and I do sometimes think that the endings of these episodes don't quite have the payoff we want.
Yeah.
And maybe that's like just like a problem that the Chris Chibnall season will have. Hopefully it'll be rectified before the end. But I think that he was trying to do 2 different commentaries.
Well, what other commentaries do you think?
Extremism
and
one.
what's it called? Something terrorism. When it's local.
Domestic?
Domestic. Yes, domestic terrorism.
What is it called? Give it to me.
Which I
Domestic terrorism.
always roll my eyes out because I always feel like it's like hold up the shade card, and depending on how light the shade is, that's domestic terrorism. But it's like,
But that's right. That is
yeah,
correct.
it's terrorism. It's terrorism.
I didn't
but
say
all
it.
the way around.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Who
sorry.
is white said it, not me.
It's a thing that bothers me. It's call it terrorism. But the thing is, that's why it's like, often it's great when you have a villain, you can kind of be like, oh, I see that villain's point, and that's kind of what's happening with this guy, where he's like, I kind of that is the issue, and it's just because the way the episode wraps up, where they're like, and don't worry, we're looking into it, and we're making it more person friendly. Why? Like, why? It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like the 10% is really treated that badly.
I get what you're saying, Dave, because by having sort of two commentaries going on, they sort of
They don't necessarily work together.
They canceled.
exactly.
They canceled each other out in this way. Where, yes, there are some really evil things that Amazon does to their workers. Like there's no like two ways about it. Like overworking them, and they have made some improvements, like the pay. Hopefully they'll make more improvements to how they generally treat their employees.
Yeah.
But like this sort of like where the robots are like, save your social save your social comedy, save your socializing for downtime, like stuff like that. That is absolutely the kind of thing that Amazon does.
Yeah.
But when they were revealed to not be the bad guys, it made it look like all of that was okay.
Yeah, it kind of did.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you called them out, but then you sort of reeled it back.
Yeah,
and like I wonder, Amazon has the Doctor Who airing rights for old seasons.
It does.
Amazon controls everything, which is why I have 30 Amazon things in my cart. No, I think it's also they're trying to merge those two things, but then also there's a theme that Chris has been doing. Chris, who's my friend, has been doing this year of making the villains human. Yeah. So majority of the time when we are faced with a villain and not just like oopsie, an alien with a cute butt. It's but not a cute face. Does that mean? It kind of is, but it's a munchkin. The Kremlin.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
it was all chewed around.
What are you saying, Agent?
Butt.
Oh my god.
Sexiest butt on Doctor Who.
Everyone's gonna hate
Tina
me for that.
Belcher, everyone.
Anywho, then most of the villains of the stories have been human.
Yeah.
So there's a commentary that he's trying to get across with that, but it just didn't quite work when you place the human with the monster known as Amazon.
I also like the message that they say at the end, which is like, it's not the system that's the problem, it's who uses and abuses the system.
Well, that's sorry.
So no, I was just like, it would be nice if we saw someone abusing the system, and we don't really see that. We kind of see just the bad guy be the guy, but not like you don't see the corporate kind of overlord kind of forgetting everyone for the biggest profit, which is easy to do. It's an easy fix to do, but they wanted to have that domestic terrorism kind of switch it.
And it would have been nicer. It would have been nicer if we had it more so that so more like Soylent Green, which I have a picture of if we can get that up. Of
that was I saw
the
this
corporation being the overall villain and discovering that the people were disappearing because they were becoming the Kerblam teammates. If you don't know Soylent Green, I'm about to spoil Soylent Green for you 40 years later. So
if you don't know the one word from Soylent
Green,
one phrase
is people. They turn their people into food. And I thought that's what they were going to do with this episode, which I would have thought would have been a great, way of tying everything in. Of like, this corporation is just basically taking the 10% of people that they're forced to hire and turning them into the rest of the 90% that they prefer to have.
I thought we were doing a Soylent Green thing straight up. I thought that it was going to be people and all the robots.
I thought
for like a good solid 20 minutes of the episode. I
thought we were going to find out that there were no people and all the people that we're meeting are robots. Just robots.
That's what I was thinking.
Because I found it very suspicious when everyone's like, listen, this is my entire backstory. Like, immediately. And it was suspicious enough that I was like, oh, okay, I bet that's all programming. And there is no little girl that he's referencing and this is all stuff, and which is not a bad. It would be like a good way of doing this.
That would have been an
We
interesting
do have a
twist.
history of people appearing to be human and all of a sudden being Daleks. So, like,
I am
do
glad.
it.
I was a little afraid that they were going to take off the hats and there was going to be a handle. Like,
right? It
here.
was not
Cybermen
Cybermen.
handle.
Yeah, it was like we've been Cybermen the entire time, and that would be the corniest.
I was totally ready
reveal.
for it. I was ready for the Cybermen to come. Even when they started talking about upgrades, and then he studied cybernetics, I was like, Cybermen, they're coming.
Yeah, they're getting
Chibnall
Cybermen.
lied.
He lied to us.
Right. Yeah. It's and there's stuff. There's also stuff that happened in this episode that I have a problem with, where I feel like the Doctor had plenty of time to not kill the bad guy, and the way they kind of set up the killing off the bad guy at the end, I think that goes against this like super empathetic Doctor we've been building up.
I think what I liked about that is just that she gave him the choice. She was like,
But would he have made it up there in time? Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, I mean, maybe, and maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they could have made it. I think basically in the beginning, when they were first like, please get out of there, he probably could have made it. But he was just kind of stuck in whatever anger he was in. But I think I like that ultimately she was like, well, the choice is yours. We're gonna do this, and you can stay or you cannot. But they wanted him to live. It was very clear. They wanted him to make that decision, but ultimately it's his, not theirs.
Well, couldn't she have just zapped him with them?
Couldn't she have just not ordered them to blow themselves up?
Yeah.
Couldn't she just be like, open the packages? It's all delivered. Just don't pop the actual pop.
Yeah, and then you dispose of them safely, I guess.
Yeah, and then get him, and then blow them all up
I guess
if you want.
I think she was looking for like a way to like, it was just, there was a clean way to get rid of all of the bombs, because these things, like, you got to think like, if you have that much explosive in a barely shield, like so unshielded that it just takes one pop from fingers to explode them, it might be totally unsafe to even try to move them.
Yeah.
I would agree with that,
Yeah.
except that this is a doctor. This is a doctor who's supposed to be like trying the very best to save every single person. And it feels like that was a big moment where she could have been like, no, I'm not gonna,
But the
like,
Doctor has killed or left people in situations knowing that they were going to die. I mean, Peter Capaldi did
Because
that
they
his
have
very
no-
first episode.
Yeah, this,
David Tennant did that in, oh crap, where he puts his memory into the locket, the family of blood,
Yeah.
something like that.
right. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not.
I know what you're talking about.
Usually it's a backing up against the corner. I'm just a little disappointed with this Doctor because I feel like we're building up empathy even more. And this was a moment that just didn't feel needed. It felt like they could have
Yeah.
just captured him and he would have stayed alive, and it would have even been a moment where he spared her.
well, that's this episode was really heavy with death, like in a way that I was genuinely surprised by.
Yeah.
When Kyra blew up,
yeah.
I was genuinely caught off guard by
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it didn't feel in line with like the tone of this season necessarily. It's not the Doctor who wouldn't do this, and the Doctor, I think, has like over the years has shown that like he/she would do something like leaving this guy there. It's like the Dark Knight or the Batman Begins line. I don't have to save you. It's like that, so it's a blurred line of like, you didn't kill them, but you also didn't save them.
Yeah, but we also saw somebody die last episode, off screen. We knew they were dying because we saw the trigger being pulled for demons to put it
Yeah.
up. So Chris Chibnall, sorry dude, is not afraid to kill people, but yeah, in terms of seeing the Doctor see somebody that she could save and not do it, this is probably the first episode.
And it's not doing it. It's ordering the robots to blow themselves up.
Well, he wasn't down there when she ordered the robots to blow up.
yeah, he was.
He was on his way out.
He was on his way out, but she also gave him the chance to not do this. She tried to talk him out of it, and she tried to be like, "Don't do this," knowing all the while that she would have to have some sort of a backup plan. And I'm guessing that was her backup plan. I just think that you can't. I don't know. I'm just a very firm believer that you cannot make someone do something.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, he was one-track minded, doing what he wanted to do, and he believed so much in his cause that no matter what, he was going to do it. I understand, wanting to save everybody, but you can't. And I think maybe she saw that.
Yeah. And yeah.
Speaking of
you
corporate
can't, you can't make you can't make people do things, but you can ask them nicely, which is my way of transitioning into this word from AfterBuzz TV.
It's better than mine. Okay.
Hey, AfterBuzzers. Our network produces after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There is no network that works harder to serve television fans, but we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that is tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't be, because they are optional. You can turn them off. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did so in the comments, and we'll thank you on air. For now, thank you for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
Okay.
All right, and
we are getting a lot in the chat about against me saying that, so I'm gonna say it.
We'll come back to the chat. I just while we're talking to our people,
our corporate
because I want to thank the people who are helping us by going onto iTunes and leaving us reviews, because it is a great way to help us out. So this week I want to shout out Olive0456, who left us a 5-star review last week. Thank you. And you guys, it's that easy. Just jump on iTunes, hit us with a little review. You only have to write like 3 words, and it helps. That helps us more than you even realize. So jump onto iTunes, jump onto YouTube, hit us with that little thumbs up. There's all sorts of ways to help. But speaking of the people on YouTube, what does the chat say?
Yeah, okay.
What does the chat say?
We got a whole list of ways that the Doctor has let people die. And this is an interesting... Easty74 says the 4th Doctor gave a gun to a bad guy in image of the Fendal so he could kill himself. Which, that is pretty dark.
Episode.
I mean, especially the old school Doctors. Like, you go back to, Hartnell days, and he doesn't give a F.
Right. Yeah. Well, and most of the people in the chat are saying that she gave him plenty of time and that she gave the order before he ran away. Didn't look like it to me, but I will go with what people are watching, and we'll agree with them. Great.
David's like, sure.
Sure, fine. Might have been more interesting if they went another way, though. But that's still great that she killed a dude.
Well, but going back to Kyra, because I really, this character was so adorable.
Kyra. That was sad.
She genuinely believed in the system. This was like a Dr. Seuss character, the way that she talks about gift giving on Christmas, or she's not talking about Christmas, but this easily could have been a Christmas episode
never
with
got
that.
a gift.
And the only gift she ever got was chocolates from her boss.
I know.
And she was so thrilled by that. That was
She
so
was an
sad.
orphan.
Yeah.
Come on.
My heart was
Charles
broken.
Dickens?
And then they blew her up.
Yeah.
I thought at first they didn't. I was like, is it some sort of a teleportation device with green? I was like, no,
I thought
they couldn't have.
I was like, they have to have a way that the Doctor's gonna freeze time and save her, some crazy nonsense whether or not I would have enjoyed that that way of breaking it, but I was like, they gotta save her. They just killed the most innocent little red shirty character ever.
Of everyone to die.
Well, sometimes you gotta go.
But it made it. I think it did.
It's like when that tree woman died during the David Tennant years. And you're they're not gonna kill the tree lady. And she's tells the Doctor goodbye and then incinerates herself.
But at least she sacrificed herself for a cause and
she
for
just
other
get
people.
blown up by
Kyra's
some
just
jerk.
ooh, bubble wrap.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, that was kind of goofy. Can we agree?
I actually a little bit too, because she looked at it and
but it's
then
kind of goofy.
popped it instead of being like,
Bubble
what is
wrap.
this?
Yeah,
I agree
where's
a
the
little
gift?
bit with that. Yeah.
I also think if you're bored, stop. That makes me nervous. If you're left with bubble wrap alone in a room, you're gonna pop it after a while.
I get it, but it was so immediate. It wasn't like, "Where's my gift?" It was, bubble wrap, pop.
That's just her. I feel like that's her innocence.
childlike innocence.
Her more
Because
innocence again.
you also gotta imagine she works with bubble wrap all day, and she probably gets a demerit or something if she pops any of it.
Right.
So she's like, I can finally pop. It's my bubble wrap to pop.
And it was also just for It was just the system going against Charlie. And basically having revenge on Charlie was using her in order to do that.
Well, see, that's the corruption of Amazon. I mean, Kerplam.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
It's not success. It's not really anything. It's more of just someone lashing out. It's like a machine and
Having
AI
emotions.
that's like going out against and being like, no, I need the one help, and to prove that, I'll kill this guy's crush.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah. I agree.
That's my weak points of the episode. Stuff I did like, though, was we get to finally meet Ryan's other nemesis. You've seen him battle ladders, but now he's finally facing chutes.
What?
Shoot some ladders.
You mean conveyor? Oh.
Yeah, he has this moment where he's just like, oh, am I going to jump down this chute? Oh, let me tell you my problem again. This is my problem that I have, and then I do it successfully.
And again, this is like I feel like we've talked about this a lot, but this episode sort of like I thought I was actually thinking about it with him like earlier during the episode. I was like, I wonder what happened to that. Did they just like let it go or whatever? Mm-hmm. And then they brought it back up. But again, they told us about it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They told us that he has this problem.
Just showing it.
There was nothing visually that confirmed that he ever had an issue.
Except for when he fell off the bike.
Yeah,
when he fell off the bike
You're right.
and he slipped on the ladder once.
Yeah.
Those were the only things that has gotten in his way.
Which, again, just in case people didn't listen to that, so I'll keep it brief for those who have been listening to us all season. But like, if you're I really admire having a character with a disability. I think it's a great way to go. I think especially having it be a mobility disability in the context of Doctor Who is always running, could have been really interesting. But they didn't use it. They made it such a minor disability that it doesn't affect anything that he actually does.
Well, we never know. I mean, we still have a few more episodes, so maybe it'll be like a big thing
Later.
Maybe
possibly.
And that'd be great. It's still like to this point, you've set it up and it hasn't been a thing.
Yeah.
If you put it in now, it would feel like you're changing how much it affects him.
I will say this. The way that I can kind of relate to this a little bit is I get panic attacks. I get them sometimes more often than other times. Sometimes I don't get them for a while. Sometimes they affect my life, sometimes they don't. But it'll be in certain situations where I'll warn people and be like, look, just a heads up, this might happen. It might not. But if it does happen, it's going to mess with this particular situation. So I can kind of see sort of it relating to that. Just being like, look, this might not affect me in this way, but this could mess like one particular, like he just was kind of telling him like, I'm going into this situation to try to help you, but there is a possibility that I'll stumble and mess something up.
I get that, but I think theatrically it would work better if it was something that came after we see it, an example of it, and then him having to explain it.
Exactly.
You know, so sliding down a chute, I don't know.
I did like about Ryan though that it didn't feel like another world for him because he's been working in a warehouse and he was doing the exact same thing. And I thought that was a great thing to see in Doctor Who, and that was actually a great tie into actual social issues. That was the best moment for me, where he's just like, this is just work. I've done this so many times, and this is not different from how we live our life on Earth at all. And that was where they did that social commentary the most successfully. It was through how Ryan fit into this terrible dystopian world, because that's also what we have. So
Yeah, and with middle management.
The factories.
And the idea that you have to mandate that 10% of your employees are human. Or are just
and it's only
organics.
10%.
Yeah. And that was the negotiated amount.
It's okay. It's okay. Corporations make all of us sneeze.
I was trying to get through to be like, and you guys talk, but I couldn't even get that far. Sorry, guys. But yeah, it was a very commentary heavy episode. Yaz didn't have a ton to do in this one, but she had her big episode last week.
I actually had a discussion recently when it comes to Yaz, and I do want them to actually figure out her character more, because recently I talked to my friend Riley, who writes a lot of reviews for Doctor Who over at Nerdist, and she was talking about how like they haven't really used we don't really know who Yaz is. Like, we don't really have a sense of Yaz. Like, we have a sense of Graham, like, heavily. We know who Graham is, and we love Graham. And we even know who Ryan is, and he has a sense of humor, and we kind of know what he talks about. Yaz, we don't really have that. All we have is, like, her family connection.
You're right.
I think her character still needs some room to, like, really pump up who she is as a person.
What she likes. Oh, yeah, like interests and,
I mean,
That's a
we
good
get.
point.
I guess we haven't done as much with her like character building since early in the season, but like the idea that she was a police officer, she wanted to be she wants to be a detective. We could show a little bit more of that, especially as we're getting into crime and things. Like we saw a little bit of it in this episode, like when she took down Charlie. Like she put him in a full like police hold.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and I remember noticing that, like, Yaz is the one who, like, puts this guy into a lock.
Yeah, and I
So
like
he's
her
not
as the
going
muscle,
anywhere.
which kind of happened in the Lightworm episode too. In the
Yeah. And it makes sense as a cop. That would make sense that she would be trained
Yeah.
to be the muscle. So I like that.
I just had the realization that we've now faced and kerblam this season.
I love there was also Graham, his one of his lines in there that just made me laugh. I had to write it down. Was "You're just making sounds now" when she was saying things. He's like, I don't know what you're saying.
It's true.
Blam.
He also had that great moment when he was talking to Charlie, and Charlie was like, "Oh, I haven't really seen very many people out here." He goes like, "Yeah, I could tell." Anyways, and then moves on. It was a great delivery.
He's so great.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other favorite moments from this episode? Like we've gone over the companions. This was a very plot-heavy episode.
Yeah. I mean, I had a few little sayings that the doctor said that I'll talk about during the special segment, but I had some
Yeah.
notes I liked, yeah.
I mean, of course, the Fez moment for me
Fez.
as a Smith fan,
Right.
and I didn't have my Fez with me. I'm sorry, I don't keep it in my back pocket generally.
You should.
You should have just ordered another one.
Right?
Could have teleported
Get
right
that
here.
same day
Amazon,
shipping.
Amazon Prime.
Boom.
Bum, bum, bum.
1 day later.
under 2 hours,
Yeah.
depending on for some products.
Right, for the drone.
Yeah, just a guy in a car
Oh, that's not that one.
Or that too.
driving
He's
over.
basically a drone.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
driving over from Glendale.
Or a woman in a
But
car.
I like I love that like those little moments like the Fez is obviously for me personally just something I really enjoy. Like
Yeah.
the way Smith played with hats was like a fun gag that I always enjoyed. But so the idea that like she remembers ordering this and it just like happened to show up now.
Yeah.
Like 2 lifetimes late.
That's amazing.
Million. Well, I was reading an article, I think it was on Radio Times, where they said they don't think it was because she ordered it back when she was Matt Smith, but because she happened to be in that galaxy when she first ordered it.
That
I don't
makes
know, It
sense.
didn't make any sense. And so, or she was in that galaxy when she first ordered it, and so the Kerblam delivered it then, or the Kerblam delivered it knowing that she was close by and knowing the
Right.
history of her prior orders was
Previous
the Fez.
orders, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be true.
Do you guys think that this doctor pulled it off?
The Fez? I think she looked good in the Fez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Totally.
it wasn't quite her, I will say.
Well, that makes sense.
I feel like, that's a different doctor of the past.
It didn't look quite as natural on her as it did on Matt Smith.
It
we
didn't
have
look
a-
natural on Matt Smith either.
We have a picture
Disagree.
of the Fez with Matt Smith and David Tennant from the 50th. You can pull that up to check that out.
Yeah.
We can
Isn't that when the
just
Fez
so people
goes
are like,
through the portals?
they keep talking about Matt Smith and the Fez.
There you go.
I even with the glasses too.
This one looks okay. It's the first one that he puts on. It's like this guy
the whole-
belongs in a Fez.
Also, the whole joke of the Fez is that he really wants to have it be a part of his costume.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no.
Well, you know, there's
Fezes are
also
cool.
a history of the Fez from even old school doctor who I think 1977 episode. I don't have a picture of that, but with I forget who. I think it would have been the 9th Doctor at that time. Goes into a store and puts on a Fez to be like an
77 would have
incognito.
been 7?
Would have been 7.
9 was Eccleston.
It was-
8 was Home Again.
I was quickly pulling information off the web.
No, I'm just like trying to think
Yeah,
now.
so-
who would have been that year.
The Doctor has worn a Fez before, and they've referenced it in comic books as well. So the Doctor has always had a love for the Fez.
Because Fezes are cool, just like bow ties
bow
and
ties.
Stetsons. Anyway, Any other favorite standout moments that you guys really liked from this one?
Before I heard about seeing Charlie and Kyra run into each other with their little crush
was very
moment
cute.
was super sweet.
I wrote it down and I put a little heart around it.
Yeah.
Because it was a bad heart. Don't judge my heart. But, yeah.
I really liked that. It showed just kind of, it sort of brings you back to a little bit to your first sort of like school crush or workplace crush where you're like just so enamored with the person and you're fumbling and you can't talk to them. It was just like a very cute, like humanizing moment.
And no one
robots.
No one questions a cleaner. I did like that.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
that's actually so true.
And it was true for us as viewers. Like, we didn't question this kid. This
Didn't even think about it.
No, we just we trusted him
That's
implicitly.
also the plot of is it Scary Movie? Where it's at the end, it's
Whoa!
he's also the
spoiler
cleaner.
on Scary Movie.
Like, I know I've seen
Oh,
You haven't seen that movie in the past 17 years.
No, there's no reason to watch 2, 3, or 4.
Not really, no.
Yeah, they did a good job with like you liked Kyra by that point and you knew how lonely she was. So when they did flirt, it was kind of like, yeah, she's got someone. Someone's gonna give her a gift, and that's kind of what we're like.
He did give her a gift, the gift of death.
And then you also have that nice little gram, like, oh, this reminds me of you when you were younger a month ago. To
I know.
Ryan.
Such
And
a
Ryan's like,
jerk.
shut up.
Their back and forth is getting more and more adorable
That's
as
great.
the season goes on.
I like watching them get more comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
There was no fist bump moment though this episode.
There will never be a fist bump.
Or just
Never.
like even where he tries to go for one.
They
Again.
they have
Yeah.
to hold back on that. They can't do it every episode.
I get
They-
it, but I'm kind of into it as a running joke. I kind of like it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Who said fezzes are no longer cool?
Who
Oh,
said this?
dude.
People in the chat.
Multiple people. I'm disowning all of you.
But also, Morbid Encounter says Time Lords were always into hats.
Oh, yeah.
Has a point. Or big hair, you know.
Or long
Yeah.
scarves. Big
But
coats.
yeah, I mean, this episode overall, I enjoyed it. It's not a perfect episode, but I did like we got our creepy robots in. Chibnall had to get his creepy robots.
Yes.
Like every doctor has their very like similarly structured, wide-eyed, pale-faced creepy robots.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Though the doctor will say, like, don't be angry at, like, some of my best friends are robots. And defending robots still, despite how many creepy robots she's faced.
And how many just bad robots over the years? Like, for every good robot the Doctor has encountered, there have been way more terrible robots.
Yeah. Did anyone
So
think
many.
of, I kind of had like a little, Pearl moment when she was like, some of my best friends are robots.
Pearl?
Pearl?
Yeah, wait, hold on.
I don't.
I'm blanking. Last companion, Capaldi, got
Bill.
turned into a set. Bill.
Pearl Mackey.
Oh, that's why.
I was like,
that's
do you
why.
mean
It's
Pearl
not
Mackey?
that bad of a.
It's less
Head
bad of a
fart.
blunder than we thought. At
Yes.
first.
There's a connection.
There we go.
That makes sense.
Bill, where it's where it was kind of.
She's
a
really an
sad
android.
moment. Yeah, but she got put into a robot body.
So that's an
She
android.
got
Android
put
body.
into a water robot
It is.
oil thing monster.
Then
Which
who's
is also
who
her
are the
ex-girlfriend?
doctor's best friends?
Because I have a picture. The doctor's best friend that's a robot is K9.
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 K9, you guys, is the robot that's
Affirmative.
the doctor's friend.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yep.
Everything else is
Good old K9.
There
mainly
is.
androids. So, but yeah.
Wow.
And
I would
guess, yeah,
love
or
if
Bill.
Jodie's doctor got a a revamped canine.
K9 came back briefly for
With
Dave
Tennant.
with Tennant.
Yeah.
He did,
just
but it was
for
the
Sarah
same. It was
Jane.
still the same
Same
canine.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, like we revamped,
Like a-
but from the ground up.
like a feline. Feline? Get it?
Ooh. A kitty one? I'm in.
Oh,
Let's get a feline.
that's almost too on the nose for the first female
that would
doctor
be
to have a
weird.
cat companion.
Yeah.
But also it
I'd still
would
dig
work
it.
so well.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm on board for it.
Yeah.
But I want the same consciousness. I want K9 to be put into a new body that can like float around
Yeah.
and like has like an Inspector Gadget like that, like an
style too.
R2D2 Inspector Gadget, just like
Yeah.
everything pops out.
The legs pop up and they can get really long and like be on springs.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
So insane. please give it to us. But why don't we transition, and then before we get into predictions for the rest of the season, why don't we do our special segment, Who's Who on Who?
I really want to know.
All right, so we're going to start with some of the stars. Everyone get it together. This is the one part I have to do. Some of the stars of this episode. I want to start first with the casting director, Andy Pryor. I thought just overall the casting was pretty cool on here. He's also done casting for Stan and Ollie, Gentleman Jack, which has not come out yet, Class, which I believe is also a Doctor Who type.
Yeah, Class
show.
was the Doctor Who spinoff.
We didn't really watch. Cold Feet and Call the Midwife.
Cool.
So Call the Midwife had
Call
a
the
callback
Midwife.
in episode, was that 6? 5. 5. So then we also have Matthew Gravel, who played the voice of the Kerblam robots.
I was curious about
And Chris Chibnall loves to pull people from Broadchurch. So he has been
yes.
in Broadchurch, Keeping Faith, and the Rosemary's Baby remake that was on NBC a few years ago. I don't know if y'all saw that.
What? That wasn't Rosemary's Baby remake?
There was.
I remember
it was
that
a 2-part.
happened.
And they premiered it on Mother's Day like some jerks. It was hilarious.
That's so
Yeah.
awesome. Wow. Like I'm not a huge fan of Rosemary's Baby. Not that it's bad or anything. It's just like not what I generally go to. But that is such a cool move.
Yeah. I was like, that's ridiculous.
I respect it.
And then lastly, we have, I had to look it up, Julie Hesmonhall. I think that's how you say it. Hesmondhalgh. It's a lot. Hesmonhall, who plays Judy Maddox. She was oversaw the people of Kerblam. She was also in Broadchurch as well, Happy Valley and Coronation Street. So she's a well-known British actress.
We get it, Chibnall. You're getting your friend's work.
We get it. Thanks. There's been like 4 or 5, I think, who were on Broadchurch, and also, of course, Jodie.
Right.
Small part.
Small. You barely saw her. No, she was a serious regular. And then there were just a few other references. The Doctor references her travels with Agatha Christie. We've already done a picture from that episode, so I just pulled up a different one. That was The Unicorn and the Wasp, season 4, episode 7, and we have an actual picture with the Doctor and Agatha and Donna solving things together and trying to kill a wasp.
Why they're bringing up wasps.
Yeah, exactly. And we also have, let me make sure I'm getting everything right. Oh, the psychic paper. I wanted to bring that up in Arachnids in the UK because she briefly pulls it out, but she brought it out again. And what's interesting is that there's 2 different types of psychic paper, like constantly being tossed around with the Doctor. There's one where you see in David Tennant, he has the whites on the bottom, and then there's another one where it's on the top and it looks like a regular like billfold wallet. So I don't know, weird little fan thing I figured out. Sorry, I'm a nerd. Okay, so we already did K9, and then the Big Bang. What's that?
I was gonna say in the chat, Alex McLeod said that the actress who played Kyra was also in Call the Midwife in season 5.
See,
nice little.
Nice.
Chris Shepnell, did you also do Call the Midwife? And then The Big Bang, Season 3, Episode 13 is when we're introduced to the Fez, and that's with the classic hairstyle.
He does look good with the Fez.
He does look good with little hair
you see?
Yes.
It's true.
It really pulls
There's
them
no
off
denying
well.
it. And then lastly, I was thinking about killer robots, and I was like, there have been other killer robots. There's so many killer robots, I can't think of any other killer robots who were working at the behest of a human. And I thought of The Voyage of the Damned, which was the 2007 or 2008 Christmas special. And they were controlled by Max Capricorn to kill passengers on the Titanic spaceship. Was it Titanic spaceship? It was something.
Yeah, it was. It was a Titanic spaceship. You're
I
right.
might be wrong. No, it is. Yeah, because that's when what's his face was on there from Being Human. Yeah, so that's it for a special segment. It was a lot of nice little tie-ins. Thank you, Chris, for making it easy for me for once.
Cool.
For bringing about callbacks and Easter eggs that I could easily be like, yes.
There was also apparently a revamped K9 in an Australian series according to Easty74, and it was apparently terrible, according to him.
Oh.
Or her.
I'm looking at this image. It was sent to me on Twitter. I'll retweet it out.
Yeah,
it's
pretty bad.
It's weird looking, to say the least.
I mean, it doesn't not look like K9. It's just
No,
not
it's
K9.
definitely K9, but I'm talking about a true reimagining.
Oh, yeah.
In our style. And I guess if it was like this TARDIS, it would be very crystal based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's also, I want to make sure we have time for for news and gossip, because we got some big stuff this week.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hit that news and gossip button.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Gossip.
Oh, he does.
So,
I was hoping you would be like, and gossip.
So first, the actual news that we can report, the news part. We've talked about is it going to be a Christmas special? Is it going to be a New Year's special? And now we know officially it's a New Year's Day special.
Oh.
So it
For
will.
all you hungover people.
Don't get out of bed. Just turn on Doctor Who.
I still have mixed feelings about like airing it on New Year's Day. Obviously, I'm going to watch it regardless.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of. We've done it so many years. Like watching Doctor Who on Christmas had been like it become like a tradition of sorts.
Yeah.
So I'm disappointed that I won't have that.
I've never actually watched it on Christmas, maybe once. So I'm cool with it. But, I feel ya.
Christmas, because I do most of my Christmasing on Christmas Eve. Christmas, I actually have nothing to do, so usually that's when I do watch it with my brother when I'm home.
Yeah.
So I will be missing it myself.
Yeah.
I just go to the movies, drink some wine, get a little drunk.
But now,
You okay? Are you okay?
Sounds fun.
okay, we'll talk about this off air. But the gossip part, and this is pure gossip. There is nothing factual backing this up.
Don't tell your mama. It's gossip.
Anyway, a couple of different outlets are reporting that Chibnall is threatening to leave the show or potentially leaving the show after next season.
Oh, next season.
2019, right?
2019,
Yeah, 2019.
and Jodie would go with him if
Yeah.
that happened. So this is being reported by Starburst magazine, which is a sci-fi magazine in the UK.
Sounds delicious.
So, like a couple of people had sent me this rumor. So and it's out there. Like people are talking about this. So I felt like we should address it. But they're saying that like there's been a disagreement between BBC and Chibnall about how many episodes they can do in 2019 because they want a full season every year. Which I think a lot of us understand is generally how we get TV.
That's how we roll,
one season a year. But according to this article, what he said is that that's not doable to do another 10 episodes. And it is like we have seen this season has been incredibly ambitious in terms of visual effects and like what they're pulling off. They're always in different locations, so it's not you don't have the repeatability that you have on other shows where you have the same set and it's easy to go in and shoot it in and out in a week or 10 days. I imagine these are probably taking at least 3-4 weeks to shoot one episode of these shows, especially when you go from like building of sets through production. But that's what he's saying is that it's not sustainable to do a full season a year.
How have the other showrunners pulled it off? I mean, yes, there's a difference in quality that we've noticed between Moffat and Davies and Chibnall.
Well, for the last few seasons, Moffat didn't pull it off. He missed years. Like we went,
True.
or we kept changing when in the year it was airing, so that he had a bigger
that's
stretch
true.
of time. So there may be something to that, and that's the part of this that actually does sound reasonable. Like I can see the network saying, like, "Well, why can't you pull it off? Plenty of other shows do it." And he's like, "Well, because we do crazier
do
stuff."
space.
Right.
And there being that sort of back and forth. And if they are really hardline about it, then there is a certain amount of that this makes sense. And if the network is pushing Chibnall out, Jodie basically saying like, well, then you'll have to do it without me. She's putting her support behind her friend and her boss that she believes in.
I would say to all the fans, BBC's going to hate me. Reach out to BBC. via Twitter. Tell them, like, we're willing to wait. I waited over a year for season 4 of Outlander because it took them more time, and that's understandable. I mean, I don't want to wait.
And what
but
this
I will.
says it would be is that you would get like 3 to 4 episodes in 2019 with a Christmas or holiday special of one kind or another, and then I guess the back half of the season in 2020.
Well, didn't they do that with
okay.
season 7 with Matt Smith?
It's happened
did a
before.
split. So that's fine.
Like,
I
look-
would be okay with that as long as they kept Jodie and Chris for at least 3 seasons. I think that's a reasonable amount of time for them to. I mean, it would be nice if they went longer, but
I think
the same
3
time.
seasons has proven to be the perfect length for Doctors.
Yeah.
So like even if Chibnall was sticking around longer, like Jodie going 3 seasons, I think is perfect because like that's how long Tennant had, that's how long Smith had, that's how long Capaldi had, and it's always like. You come to the end and you're like, oh, we could do more, but we also don't have to.
Yeah.
We've already done a lot with these people. We can change the show and like it's starting to wane. Oh, fresh stuff. Oh, now this season we're excited again. We're like ready to dive in. So again, this is all rumor. It's conjecture based on like some reports from like Outpost Scarro blog and Starburst magazine. So
I mean, the New Year's Eve was also a rumor and gossip until this week. So.
yeah.
That's true. And
So
then,
we'll just have to wait and see. And like but like it's the best way to support this show and support these creatives is to just watch it every week.
Yeah.
So how many episodes do we have this season? Because
10 episodes plus New Year's Eve, so 11 total.
Okay, so there's next week, and then there's because I saw like 3 more episodes.
There are
this season.
3 more episodes.
Does that include the
9th.
special?
No.
No.
Okay.
So 4 more episodes if you include the New Year's Day special.
Special. Okay, cool.
December 9th will be our finale for this
Okay.
season. There will be an episode next week.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for our schedule. We're still working things out
we
because
won't
it
be
is
here on
it
Sunday.
is for us crazy Americans. It's Thanksgiving weekend and a lot of people are traveling,
Indigenous
and
Peoples
AfterBuzz is still
Day.
working out
Yeah.
schedules. So just stay tuned to us on Twitter, and we will be sure to get you that info as soon as we can. But the podcast will eventually come out. You will get that.
Yes.
Sweet thoughts that we have on what's going to happen next week. And hey, what's going to happen next week? Let's do some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
We're just getting all the stings in right now.
Right.
All right.
Boom, boom, boom.
Next week's episode is called The Witchfinders.
Witchfinders.
This is the one that's going to have.
Think it's gonna get political? I don't know.
But this is the one we've got Alan Cumming
Yes.
in this
yeah,
one.
nice.
He's going to be playing King James the First.
we're going back in time.
We're going back and forth. This is like so.
Back in time.
Minor
Sorry.
spoilers for next week. We're doing a witch hunting episode. Like that's
Yes.
literally what we're doing. So
Those that never have political undertones, so
Yeah.
it should be
No,
fun.
I don't think Chris is going to say anything. It's
be
really
fun,
just going to
fun.
be about witches, and how to
it's
hunt
about
them.
witches.
And,
There's nothing political about witch trials, right?
witchcraft.
Nobody uses those terms in political discourse
You
at
know?
all.
That wasn't used as a play.
those ladies were just doing really bad things, man, and we had to get them. It wasn't like they were being wrongly accused of being witches, because witchcraft doesn't really exist in that type of way.
And it also wasn't used by Arthur Miller as a veiled criticism of the McCarthy administration. And it wasn't anything like that. No.
So here's my question: because we have in the like the especially in the Tennant era, we saw what witches in England were. They're in the Shakespeare Code
Right.
episode. I want to say it's called.
Also, Monty Python's Holy Grail. So.
That's not Doctor Who canon.
Oh,
Dave.
okay. Sorry.
Dave.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
But I'm curious. Do you guys think that they are going to do a like witches are real tact, or like witches are a conjecture and fake, and these are real people?
I think if we're gonna stay with the theme of the humans are the villains, and they're not gonna have powers in the way that the witch trials were accusing them of having.
Right.
powers.
If they're going to be like, there's going to be some alien behind it that's causing these powers to happen.
Maybe.
But maybe they're an innocent person and all they have are like, their hands light up or something. And they're just an innocent person and they don't need to be hung or burned at the stake for it.
Yeah.
I think so the villains are going to be the humans, but there's going to be an alien involved somehow.
Potentially.
I mean, look, we're dropping the Doctor who is a woman who wields a magic wand around the entire time.
Exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah, she's gonna be accused of being a witch.
Yeah,
for sure.
in like 4 seconds.
Yeah.
She's gonna take out the screwdriver. It lights up. Witch.
Yes.
Yep.
And then she'll
Get a duck.
kill them.
I'm getting it out of the way now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Did you have a?
Oh no, that was exactly what I was
what you
gonna
were
say.
gonna say?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say she's definitely gonna be accused of being a witch, and they're gonna have to get her out of that tough scrape, which is gonna be rough. Also with Yaz, I feel like as well,
And Ryan.
and Ryan. Yeah,
Only
Jeez.
Graham. Graham, it's down to you to save
Save
everyone. Because you're the
Boy.
only one that's not going to run into any complications. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us for the Doctor Who After Show on AfterBuzz TV.
Yeah.
Why don't we start at the other side of the table? Dave, where can everyone find you?
Hi, everybody. You can find me at Mr. Dave Child on Twitter and Mr. Dave Child on Instagram. And also go to davechild.com for all your Dave Child needs. I'm Dave Child. But also, if you go on Twitter, my pinned tweet is a new music video I'm in. Check that out if you want to see me dance and gyrate. And you can catch me tomorrow on the Legends of Tomorrow after show. I'm finally going back. I missed the last couple of weeks, but I'll be there if you want to see me talk more about time traveling, sci-fi, superheroes, and such. I'll be there.
And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Zia_land. It's XIA_land. Also, you can find me right after this on Marvel TV Weekly. We're going to talk about Marvel things. And starting Monday, which is tomorrow at 9 p.m., we're going to do The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So if you're not over Halloween yet, we still have like a few days before Thanksgiving. We're going to go back to some Halloween-y stuff.
Get it in. There's also a Christmas special for
Yes.
Chilling Adventures, too.
Yes.
Oh.
I'm Adrienne Snow. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrienne Snow. You can also catch me on the Outlander after show right before this show. And then you can catch me this Tuesday at 9 for the Lore after show, where we discuss the Lore Amazon show. And we put in a few real life tidbits as well as the podcast. So that's it.
All right, guys. I'm Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ThatZachWilson. Also, check me out on every Thursday except this one because it's Thanksgiving. Over on our sister network, Popcorn Talk, hosting Marvel movie news. And check out my own ridiculous, silly podcast that I host with Greg Goodness, Ships in the Night. This week, we talked about what would happen when we shipped Pizza the Hut from Spaceballs and Guy Fieri. That's my tease. Ships in the Night on all podcasting platforms.
Those are my parents.
I would eat them.
This has been the Doctor Who After Show.
Have a good holiday, y'all.
Thanks for geeking out
Eat
with
that
us.
turkey.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.